Today I'm going to tell you a horror story, so watch till the end. It's going to be really creepy. It's about a babysitter who was never hired, but somehow she still showed up. It all started one stormy Friday evening in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Oregon, when 16-year-old Emily, who had just started babysitting part-time, received an unexpected call from a woman named Mrs. Clark who sounded hurried, breathless, and desperate. She said she got Emily's number from a local babysitting flyer and begged her to come quickly to watch her 5-year-old son, Charlie, just for a few hours because she had to rush to the hospital to care for her mother. The address she gave wasn't far, just 3 blocks away, and though Emily hadn't dropped off any flyers, yet she had only printed them, she felt too awkward to question it and decided to go help because after all it was just a child and a few hours of cartoons and snacks, right? But as soon as she arrived at the house, something felt off. It was an old, creaky Victorian home at the end of a cul-de-sac partially hidden by overgrown hedges, and when she knocked, the door slowly creaked open on its own. "Hello?" she called out, stepping inside, her voice echoing eerily in the dimly lit hallway lined with portraits of people whose eyes seemed to follow her. And just then, a tiny voice answered from upstairs, "I'm in my room." Assuming it was Charlie, she walked up, and there he was, sitting on the floor, coloring with crayons, eerily calm and quiet for a 5-year-old. He barely acknowledged her presence and just said, "She's watching you," pointing at nothing in particular, but the hair on Emily's neck stood up. She asked him what he meant, and he simply whispered, "She doesn't like strangers in the house," and went back to coloring a pitch-black figure looming over a stick-figure girl. Emily tried to brush it off, thinking maybe he was just imaginative, but when she explored the kitchen to grab a snack for him, she found food that looked untouched for weeks, a moldy sandwich on the table, and a thick layer of dust over everything. Something was very wrong here. She pulled out her phone to text her mom, but there was no signal, not even Wi-Fi, and when she tried the landline it was completely dead, emitting only a low buzzing hum that sounded almost alive. Then the lights flickered violently, and upstairs Charlie screamed. She rushed up only to find his room empty, his drawing left behind now scribbled completely black like he was erased. Panic set in, and she began searching the house, calling his name, checking closets, the attic, even the creepy basement that smelled like wet earth and decay nothing. Suddenly she saw something move past the hallway mirror, a flash of a tall woman in black, with no face. Emily spun around, but no one was there. Heart pounding, she backed into the living room and tried the front door. It wouldn't open. It was like the wood had fused together. Then she heard giggling from upstairs, not Charlie's voice, but something higher-pitched, mockingly sweet, like a child pretending to be human. Slowly, she crept up, and the air grew colder with each step until she found the nursery door open again, rocking chair moving on its own, and written on the wall in crayon was, "You weren't hired. You shouldn't have come." At that moment, the closet door burst open and out came Charlie, but he wasn't quite right. His eyes were pitch black, his head tilted unnaturally, and he said in a hollow voice, "You're mine now." Emily screamed and ran downstairs, only to find the living room rearranged, with dozens of dolls on the couch all staring at her, their heads slowly turning in unison. She dashed into the kitchen to find an exit, but now the door led into the basement again, and when she turned to go back, the doorway behind her had vanished. She was trapped in a house that was shifting, breathing, living. Something ancient and cruel was toying with her. Just then, the figure from the mirror appeared, tall, faceless, gliding her dress made of smoke and teeth, and Emily realized this wasn't a ghost. It was something far older, a shadow that needed new faces to wear, and she had walked right into its home. The next morning, when the real Mrs. Clark returned from visiting her mother, who had not been in any hospital, she found her front door ajar, her house completely dark, and the babysitter gone, except for a crayon drawing left behind on the nursery floor. It showed a girl with long brown hair screaming while black arms pulled her into the walls. Emily's parents reported her missing, and police found no trace of her ever arriving at the Clarks' home, no calls placed, and Mrs. Clark insisted she had never contacted a babysitter that night at all. But every now and then, people walking by the Clarks' home swear they see a teenage girl standing in the upstairs window, silently screaming for help trapped in a house that never hired her in a job that never existed. If you like this creepy horror story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. More terrifying tales are coming soon.